Let's talk with constitutional attorney, Victory News contributor KrisAnne Hall. KrisAnne, welcome to Victory News.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm so happy to be here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. Some House Republicans want immediate deportation of illegal immigrants if they enter the United States from Gaza or Palestinian-controlled areas. Is this wise legislation during the war with Hamas and Israel?
Well, I think that we should have legislation. I mean, we already have federal law that allows for the immediate deportation of those everyone entering the country illegally. How are we going to sort through these people and know exactly where they've come from? And how do we know what a Hamas sympathizer looks like if they didn't come from Gaza? This is not just simply an attack from one geographic area. This is a neo-Marxist invasion of sympathizers.
Yeah, Department of Defense spokesman Brigadier General Pat Ryder, he shared news of America stepping up our presence now on the ground in the Middle East. Here it is.
I can confirm that since our initial force posture announcement, approximately 900 troops have subsequently deployed or are in the process of deploying to the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility.
Now, Ryder stated our 900 troops will not be deploying to Israel after the 19 attacks on U.S. bases in Syria and Iraq by Iran-backed terrorists. We needed to act. Now, the U.S. launched airstrikes, but is putting more boots on the ground. Is this the start of a return to the Middle East for American troops?
The DOD has told us that they're sending troops. They have told us that they have bombed Iranian assets in Syria because of 19 attacks on our U.S. bases. This sounds like the opening salvos to World War III to me. I mean, isn't that what the DOD is telling us? And remember, it was Hillary and the Democrats screaming that if Donald Trump became president, he was going to drag us into World War III. Well, here we are at the opening gates, and Trump is not president.
Interesting. Thanks for reminding us of that. This morning, Democrat Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont offered this resolution on the House floor.
Whereas members of Congress have promised to always have the back of Marjorie Taylor Greene, no matter the extent of her vile and hateful behavior, now therefore be it resolved that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene be censured.
Now, KrisAnne, that soundbite came after 11 minutes of the Vermont Congresswoman listing charges against Taylor Greene for being a hate-spewing racist anti-Semite who wants to overthrow the government. Why do you think they're bringing a censure resolution against Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing for a censure resolution against Rashid Tlaib. You see, remember I mentioned last week that politics are vindictive and petty, and that's exactly what you're seeing now. You're seeing this petty fight on censure right there on the House floor, and we're supposed to not pay attention to what's happening in the world around us while we watch these representatives act like juveniles.
Yeah, you're right. It reminds me of middle school, and yet they're leading us. KrisAnne, it must be snowing in the Bahamas because the ACLU has come to the aid of none other than Donald J. Trump. They filed this brief defending his First Amendment rights. Give us a legal breakdown of these strange bedfellows.
You know, it's very interesting. As a constitutional attorney, I probably have a better vision of this than people who don't pay attention to this form of law. But surprisingly enough, the ACLU is on the right side often, especially when it comes to speech issues, when it comes to being for what we would typically call Fourth Amendment issues or improper unlawful incarceration. They are ideologically on the other side of conservatives, but they happen to take the right view often on these particular issues.
Well, good for them. KrisAnne, thank you so much for your input. Back to you in just a moment.
Was it a loan or a gift? According to the Daily Caller, that's the question House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is asking about the $200,000 check President Joe Biden received from his brother James in March of 2018. The White House claims James Biden has sent the check to repay a loan he took from the president. But as the Daily Caller is reporting, Comer claims no financial records in the hands of the committee 2023 show this was a loan. The Oversight Committee is now asking the White House for records to back up the loan story. Comer is also questioning if the $200,000 transaction was made in accordance with IRS requirements on loans. According to NBC News, the $200,000 check was paid the very same day the president's brother received the same amount of money from the healthcare company AmeriCorps. Citing bankruptcy court documents, the Daily Caller reported AmeriCorps loaned James Biden thousands of dollars based on his indicating that the Biden name could open doors for the financially troubled company. The U.S. attorney leading the probe into the Biden family's deals in Ukraine, including allegations of pocketing a $10 million bribe, told House lawmakers that the Justice Department and FBI significantly obstructed his investigation. Scott Brady, who was the U.S. attorney for the Western District of Pennsylvania, described to lawmakers in a closed-door interview on Monday that top officials at the FBI showed intense interest in his investigation of the Bidens' connection to a Ukrainian energy company. According to the Washington Times, Brady said the Bureau tried to slow down or halt his investigation at every turn. At one point, Mr. Brady recalled his team was blocked from advancing the investigation for 5 months. Mike?
Fiora, once again, let's talk with constitutional attorney KrisAnne Hall. KrisAnne, U.S. Attorney Scott Brady, who investigated the Biden family's deals in Ukraine, including allegedly pocketing a $10 million bribe, the Biden family, that is, told House lawmakers that the Justice Department and FBI significantly hobbled his investigation. One obstruction instance was literally 5 months long. KrisAnne, what can be done legally when you are up against the president and the DOJ?
You know, this is a very interesting question, Mike, because this is not how our constitutional republic is supposed to work. And I think this is one of the sources of the great deal of discouragement felt by the American people, a lack of knowledge of the power and the recourse that we have. We should never be up against the president and the FBI. We are not a kingdom. We are a constitutional republic. Our congressmen should be fighting on our behalf in checks and balances of defunding and censorships and impeachments. Our governors should be coming together and, in the very least, filing lawsuits against things like this, if not protesting themselves en masse in general. And the people have the power to make all of these things work.
Anti-Semitism is on the rise, and the needs of the innocent victims of the murderous attacks in Israel nearly 3 weeks ago continue. That's why I want to invite you to join with Kenneth Copeland Ministries and Eagle Mountain International Church in the effort to bring comfort and aid to families in Judea and Samaria and beyond. We're working with vetted and reliable organizations in Israel, such as the City of David, helping them buy new surveillance cameras and a control room with computers for monitoring activity in that very historic site, activity that would be picked up by the cameras. Will you help those families viciously attacked by Hamas terrorists get back on their feet? Call 877-281-6297 or visit kcm.org/giveisrael to offer your financial support. 100% of your gift will bring relief and help to those lives devastated by these barbaric terrorist events. Call 877-281-6297 or visit kcm.org/giveisrael. God bless you. Thank you for standing.